welcome to Turning Point. My name is Rag Mathur Ramdev, and if you are joining us right now, well, if you're a Rajasthan fan, I'm sure you're quite happy because Rajasthan managed to beat Chennai by 7 wickets. It's a stark contrast to yesterday's games that kept going down to the wire, that were extremely close, but today's game was a low-scoring one with Rajasthan coming out on top. How exactly did it happen? Well, we'll quickly break it down for you. Just as Jofra Archer has done in previous matches, he got the early breakthrough dismissing Faf du Plessis. After being whacked for 2 boundaries, youngster Kartik Tyagi sent Watson packing after being caught by Tewatia. Once again, the Sam Curran opening experiment failed. He scored just 22 of 25 balls. Chennai's woes continued with Ambatti Rayudu striking under the bounce, hitting the top edge and being caught by Sanju Samson. If there was ever a time that Chennai needed MST to perform, it was tonight. Chennai reached the 100-run mark after 17 overs, definitely one of the slower innings in the IPL. Dhoni was run out soon after, trying to sneak in a double off a Jofra Archer misfield. Chennai hobbled to a pretty low total of 125 for 5, with the bowlers left to do the heavy lifting. Chennai gifted 4 runs early in the innings with an overthrow by Ambatti Rayudu.
Oh no, he's thrown it away.
Ben Stokes, after looking good, was done in by Deepak Chahar, losing his wicket. Robin Uthappa also gifted his wicket, trying an innovative shot but gave a simple catch to MS Dhoni. Dhoni roared back the years to take a fantastic catch, sending Sanju Samson back to the pavilion. Josh Buttler, however, was having none of it and decided to take the attack to the Rajasthan bowlers. Butler reached his 50 of just 37 deliveries.
Hard down the ground, beats the fielder for 4.
Steve Smith also clearly wanted to go home early and got Rajasthan even closer to the total. Josh Buttler also joined in, hitting it over the boundary line with Jadeja's beautiful catch, sadly not mattering. In the end, Chennai's total was just too tiny to defend, with Rajasthan winning by 7 wickets. Now, Chennai and Rajasthan had definitely faced a tall order today, considering they're both at the bottom of the standings. With Rajasthan's win, it's a good thing. So let's quickly pull up the scorecard to show you exactly how it happened. On Chennai's side, nobody managed to fire with the bat, with Ravindra Jadeja highest score at 35. MS Dhoni shortly under that for 28. But of course, it was a story of the Rajasthan bowlers, and especially not just about the wickets, but about their economy rates. Shreyas Gopal, Rahul Tewatia, Jofra Archer and Kartik Tyagi all really restricted the Chennai batsmen. On the flip side, while Rajasthan did get off to a shaky start, the total was not big enough to instill a certain kind of pressure for Rajasthan to fail. Josh Buttler led from the front, got his 70, with Steve Smith anchoring the innings with 26. Deepak Chahar took a pretty good spell in the beginning with his 2 for 18, and Josh Hazlewood coming in for Dwayne Bravo also had a very good spell of 1 for 19. Sadly, it just wasn't enough. And no surprises for guessing, the player of the day had to be Josh Buttler himself. His 70 not out was key in the run chase. It was just a 48 balls with 7 fours, 2 sixes at a strike rate of 145.8. With Josh Buttler helping Rajasthan reach the total, it is now remains to be seen what his batting order will be, considering he has opened the batting in the past, and today he came down quite in the order after Sanju Samson and Steve Smith especially. So we need to see where Buttler will be after this game. Now let me introduce my guests ready to dissect this win by Rajasthan. We have Nikhil Naz, a cricket journalist, Ronak Jain, a Rajasthan fan, and Neha, a Chennai, sad fan. I'm just going to put it out there because I'm sure she's quite upset with the current team's performance. Nikhil, let me just start with you. This was very disappointing from Chennai in terms of their batting. 126 is not enough of a total, especially with a batting lineup that Rajasthan hasn't fired well with. But even with them losing early wickets, they never seemed under pressure because of the total.
Well, that's right. I mean, that's what cricket tells you. There are no fairy tale endings as such. It was MS Dhoni's 200th match, and you'd expect, for him to do really well, for his team to win, but it doesn't quite happen. As you mentioned, the total was never going to be good enough. What would have upset a lot of fans is the one-sided encounter that we ended up seeing, especially coming after the 3 super overs that we saw in the IPL. I guess that's why we all love a Sunday and we call it a Super Sunday, and that's why we associate blues with Monday. And probably you could blame the Monday for it, for having such a one-sided encounter. But yeah, the total was never going to be enough. At the point, it did seem like that the pitch wasn't the easiest to bat on. So you knew that Rajasthan will also have some sort of trouble chasing it. But then 125 was never going to be enough.
Yeah, I think the red bat was the problem. The total was just not enough. Neha, we spoke in the beginning of the day and you talked about how you want to see Imran Tahir in the team. Josh Hazlewood came in instead of Dwayne Bravo. Still a pretty good choice because Josh Hazlewood did perform really well with the ball. But on the other hand, maybe it begs the question, do you think Imran Tahir for Shane Watson is maybe the better option?
I would have also thought so, especially, just looking at how Imran Tahir has done in the past IPL seasons, a purple cap holder. But I guess that's the dynamics of how you make an IPL team. You could only fit in 4 foreigners. So what's the problem right now? You'll have to first see that. What's the problem with Chennai Super Kings at the moment? Is it their bowling? Not quite. It's basically their batting that's really not performing. And how do you fix that? By taking Shane Watson out? I don't think that would have been a possible solution. So if I were also the Chennai Super Kings captain, I would find it very tough to fit in Imran Tahir, especially because I don't have a very strong batting lineup, which is why I'll have to play a Faf du Plessis, I'll have to play a Shane Watson, whereas when it comes to leg spin bowling, which Imran Tahir does, I have an option in Karan Sharma, I have an option in Piyush Chawla. I think that's the reason why MS Dhoni is going with it. The only way you could fit him in, and I was just looking at the team composition, is if you were to get a Hazlewood out, you take a foreign fast bowler out and bring in Asif in, because therein you have an Indian fast bowler. If you bring in Asif, then probably you free up a space for that 4th foreigner to come in, and then you bring in someone like an Imran Tahir alongside another Indian leg spinner, either it's Piyush Chawla or Karan Sharma. That's the only way you could fit him in, and probably something that MS Dhoni could have tried.
Yeah, I mean, Neha, we spoke in the middle of in the beginning of the day. As a Chennai fan, I'm sure you're disappointed. What do you think went wrong today for Chennai?
I think everything right. Firstly, the score of 125 is just not good enough. I think repeating the same kind of mistakes, not building the good crucial partnerships, not using the power play very aggressively. Sam Curran, I repeat again, should not open. He should come in at number 3. Having said that, I'm not pretty sure of Shane's innings also as an opener, but we should really experiment Sam at number 3. He'll be very crucial out there. And just no great partnerships. Even at the end, no big shots. I think pitch and all is fine. It's probably you need to adjust to the pitch, but we couldn't see those great shots. We couldn't use the last 2-3 overs well. We were just too subdued. And when it came to us kind of going and bowling, I think the power play for us was really good. We picked up good 3 wickets in the first 6 to 7 overs. But then we should have capitalized on it further and build and continued that momentum. I think after that, we just gave away the match. And I think it was more of mentally giving away the match than anything else. But I think Smith and Butler just pulled it off completely, gracefully, really well. So as you see, there's nothing I can pick on one thing that didn't work for us. Nothing struck for us today. Nothing at all.
I think you're right. I think on the flip side, you saw a certain kind of killer instinct in Butler in the way that he was willing to take the odd shot. He was willing to take on a bowler that we didn't see that much in Chennai. Ronak, a very happy Rajasthan fan, definitely. You really needed this win. What do you think shines through? Because, again, when we spoke earlier in the day, you said, no, Thapa, opening the batting was a good idea. Now, Rajasthan did fall and did have 3 early wickets with Sanju Samson again not performing. But of course, we can the positives will always outshine in a win. How happy are you with this win, and what do you think Rajasthan needs to work on now for the future?
Very happy with the win. Firstly, I mean, after seeing the thrills of yesterday's match, I think both teams must have said, you know what? The people of India have had enough excitement for the day. Let's give them a breather by playing out a sober snooze fest of a match. But yeah, at the halfway mark, I thought 125 runs on the board. It's a great opportunity for us to improve our net run rate. But then after 6 overs, I was like, let's not get net run rate into the picture. Let's just go for the 2 points right now, because we were in that familiar position of 3 wickets down in the power play again. But finally, I think the senior batsmen Smith and Butler stood up today, and they really played sensible cricket without taking unnecessary risk. I mean, you saw the shot by Robin Uthappa. That shot was not necessary at that moment. So Smith and Butler played a very good innings together. And if you look at Butler especially, the strike rate. I mean, no other batsman who got double figure today reached the strike rate of 120, and he was striking at 145 without taking any risk. But today's win, I think, major credit goes to the bowlers. I mean, Jofra Archer, sensational again. I mean, if you ask me one player that I would retain for the coming years, it would definitely be Jofra Archer.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
we are
Archer's
not
been a
letting him go at all.
performer.
And the spinners again, they showed up today. I mean, they choked the Chennai batsmen in the middle order. And a very interesting stat that I read was that it was since IPL 2014, it was the first time that no boundaries were ever scored of spin bowling in the 8 overs. With minimum 8 overs bowled. So choking the Chennai batsmen in the middle order was very, very helpful, and that is why we could, despite a few hiccups, manage to chase down the target easily.
Yeah, I think, okay, that's a valid point. Nikhil, we actually have a question tweeted out to us. It's part of our Ask Our Expert. I'd love for you to answer it. This is by Siddharth Jain. He says, should Dhoni have played Jagdishan in place of Kedar, considering that Kedar's role is still not clear in the team, and Jagdishan has only gotten one opportunity where he played a good hand of 33 runs. Is this a bad call from MS?
In hindsight, you could really say that, but I mean, put yourself in MS Dhoni's shoes at that time. You're fighting a qualification. You know that every game is going to be very, very important. Would you gamble on a youngster, someone that you've really not tried, or would you then go with someone like a Kedar Jadhav? I know that Kedar hasn't had a great IPL, but I think he was just, as I mentioned earlier as well, CSK's battings look rather weak, so I think he went for experience. The only question though I would raise of MS Dhoni is that if you've got him there as a batsman, because we've seen Kedar not really bowling, then why would you bat him below Ravindra Jadeja? And if you've decided to bat him below Ravindra Jadeja, probably because of the form that Ravindra Jadeja has shown, then when Jadeja comes in, what's his role? You would rather want him to go after the bowling. You wouldn't want a runner ball sort of an inning from Ravindra Jadeja, especially when you've promoted him in the batting order. And that's one area of concern for CSK throughout this season. You'll keep looking at what is that one problem that's ailing Chennai Super King, and I think that's been their approach. The kind of batting lineup that they have, and I think they're one of the rare teams that's got great batsmen in the lower half of the batting order as well. I'm talking about the likes of Bravo, Piyush Chawla, Karan Sharma that you usually have in your batting lineup, even Deepak Chahar, Shardul Thakur also very handy with the bat. When you've got a batting lineup like that, why wouldn't you want to make the best use of those batsmen at the end, because they can really tonk the ball, in which case you need that middle order which has been circumspect up until now in most of the games to really free up, to really try and get runs. Even if you were to lose wickets, you have a very capable lower middle order who can get you plenty of runs. The problem with CSK has been they've not been putting on plenty of runs. They haven't had faith in that lower order, which, by the way, I must tell you is one of the best you have in IPL. Just that we haven't seen much of them because the middle order tends to be very, very careful batting in the middle over, and that's where I think the biggest problem for Chennai lies.
No, Nikhil, I think you make a very good point about, generally, if you think that they have one of the best lower middle orders in the squad, I think it could only be, like you said, maybe Dhoni doesn't want to experiment that much. So Neha, as a Chennai fan, would you think that it would go against Dhoni to try in the upcoming matches some radical moves, some massive team shakeups, because now he could play almost with this attitude of nothing to lose, but at the same time, of course, fans can be ruthless. So when experiments don't work out, he could get trolled heavily. So as a fan, what do you want to see from Dhoni now? Some mad experimentation, or again, just stay with the tried and tested?
I think for now, in the interest of the CSK's long run and other seasons, not just this one, I think he should go and just experiment like mad. We've seen what happened in these matches and nothing is working. So might as well, the chances of us qualifying is little less. I'm not saying it's impossible. It is difficult, but not impossible. Might as well, if the current experimentations are not working, go out there, have some mad experimentations. As you said, probably go with the attitude of nothing to lose. If not, we'll have better clarity of the responsibilities of each player for the coming season, which is not very late. We have it like in the first half of the year, hopefully next year. So might as well give the chances to the youngsters, tell them, go play fearlessly, test yourself, evolve yourself, and evolve better, come out better. I think that would really work. We should just go out there with some mad experimentations now. Sam Curran at number 3, get in Tahir. Let's see how team does then.
Yeah, I think that you make some good points because of the fact that, yeah, I think experimentation needs to be done at this point. Ronak, I'm sorry, I think we spent a lot of time discussing Chennai's loss because it was Chennai not doing well in the IPL is, I think, one of the biggest headlines in general. But let's finally move on to Rajasthan. I think that we need to give Rajasthan their due. While, of course, this was a very subdued, match, not massive fireworks, but still, I think Rajasthan, like the point you're trying to make, did restrict the Chennai batsmen really, really well. We were talking about how Rajasthan spin attack isn't as deadly as other teams, but we saw Rahul Tewatia somehow actually really bowling those off cutters really well, bowling those off spinners really well, not allowing runs to go through, and he's definitely developing into someone who can bat, bowl and field quite well.
Yes, I think because of his heroics with the bat in this series, his bowling has gone under the radar a bit and no one's actually noticing that, but he's taken around 7 to 8 wickets for Rajasthan in the series so far, and his economy rate also has been around 7 to 8 itself, which is very good considering the runs the other bowlers are going in. So he is actually proving to be a better bowler than Shreyas Gopal as of now. I was also very happy to see Shreyas again performing against CSK. To be honest, I would also give some credit to the CSK batsmen because they allowed Tewatia and Gopal to get away with some easy deliveries, and
I don't think
they allowed themselves to choke as well. So I'm happy that the bowling is clicking at the right time. Karthik, Tyagi, Jofra Archer and Tewatia Gopal, these are 16 crucial overs that we have and who we can rely on. It's just a matter of getting that fifth bowler also right to ensure that all 20 overs we keep up the pressure from all ends, and hopefully we go for the win. One maybe disadvantage or a negative today I saw was the fielding. I think we let go of around 10-15 runs easily in the field. Very silly misfieldings which we saw. I think if those things are controlled going ahead, we could easily challenge for the top 4 position.
No, definitely. I mean, Jofra Archer, I actually almost felt bad for him. I felt that, it felt like every other ball was going towards him as a sort of test where he had to prove himself every second or third ball. Dropped a catch also. But Nikhil, I since we've talked so much about Chennai with you, I want to now know the flip side. Rajasthan did win this game. It might have not been in the most convincing fashion, but it was fairly convincing. The fact that, there was no pressure at the end. It wasn't a Punjab kind of innings where it went down to the last ball. The future of the Rajasthan squad, what do you want to see from them? Robin Uthappa openings are a good thing. Their spinners developing. Where do you see this Rajasthan squad going?
Well, quite similar to CSK. The one thing that I'd like to see Rajasthan change, for starters, I'd like, as Ronak mentioned, the only player that he'd want Rajasthan to retain is Jofra Archer. I just want to add another name of Tewatia. He'd be very disappointed to know that Rajasthan fan doesn't want him retained. So he's been the superstar. But one thing that you talk about that I'd love for Rajasthan to change is the batting order. They've got one thing right. They've got Robin Uthappa back opening for them. Yes, he didn't get too many runs today, but if there's one spot that you'd see him succeed where he's done rather well, even playing for KKR before this, that's the opening slot. So give him that for now. Ben Stokes as an opener, I wouldn't want to see him there. For the simple reason he's one of the best match winners there is in international cricket, and where have we seen him perform, whether it's in test matches, whether it's in one-day cricket, whether it's even in the IPL. If you remember that season he had with Pune, he was outstanding. Where does he bat? He bats in the middle order. That's where his position is. And where does Josh Butler do rather well? When you put him as an opener, yes, he bats in the middle order in the one-day format for England, but in T20 you see Josh Butler opening, and that's the position he's done very, very well, even for Mumbai Indians when he was opening. So why would you want to then get him into the middle order? Yes, he's the man of the match today, but why just limit ourselves with this one game? Why not look at the future, which is what we're discussing at the moment? So going forward, that's what I would like Rajasthan Royals to do. Just make that slight change. The one thing again that I'm really happy to see is Steve Smith really taking on that responsibility. The first few games we saw Steve Smith play like a slogger. That's not what you want Steve Smith to do. You want the entire innings to revolve around Steve Smith, the batsman, and that's what he's doing now. So that's paying dividends. So continue with that. Just a minor change in the batting order, and then you have a team that can really fight for that playoff spot.
Nikhil, final question for you. Any changes that you'd in Rajasthan's next game? Would you change the squad up, or do you think the squad works?
I mean, the saying is never fix, anything that's not broken. So I wouldn't want any sort of changes going. I think the one change that they really needed to make after the last game, which they lost, heartbreaking loss that it was Jaydev Unadkat. They've taken him out. They've got Ankit Rajput, and I think now they've got the squad that they would want, which can give other teams a fight. Just as I mentioned, maybe slight changes to the batting order, and then this squad almost looks perfect. Then.
All right, thanks, Neha. Chennai fan, some last words, some words of encouragement. I'm sure the team wants to hear it. What is your message to them?
I mean, we've had years of success and success and success, and this failure, I would rather call a learning than a failure, is like one drop in the ocean. So it's fine. I mean, we fans are not going to support you any less because of the season we've had. It's just a bad year. Next year we bounce back more stronger, and as I always say, the comeback should always be stronger than the setback. And as our captain always says, that we should get the process right and worry less about the result, because result is a byproduct of the process. And if we go out there concentrating more on the process rather than worrying about the result, I think we'll just do fine. So it's fine. It's just a matter of time. We'll definitely come back much stronger.
Okay. Thank you so much, Neha. Thank you, Ronak. Thank you, Nikhil, for joining us on the broadcast. Congratulations to Rajasthan, and thank you for your inputs. Thanks. Well, that's all we have for the discussion, but don't go anywhere, because we'll be right back after a very short break.